5 signs someone in your life is sent by the devil to torment you. Recognizing toxic relationship patterns. 5 warning signs and how to protect yourself. Have you ever found yourself exhausted, confused, or questioning your own judgment after spending time with certain people? Do you sometimes feel like you're walking on eggshells around someone who claims to care about you? What you're experiencing might not be your fault or your imagination. It could be the result of toxic relationship patterns that are more common than you think. Today, we're going to explore 5 crucial warning signs that someone in your life may have unhealthy patterns of behavior that are affecting your well-being. Understanding these patterns isn't about demonizing anyone. It's about empowering yourself with knowledge that can help you create healthier boundaries and protect your mental and emotional health. A quick note before we begin. This information is meant to help you recognize potentially harmful patterns, not to diagnose anyone or encourage you to cut off relationships without careful consideration. If you're dealing with serious relationship issues, consider speaking with a counselor or therapist who can provide personalized guidance for your specific situation. Now, let's examine these 5 warning signs that deserve your attention. Warning sign 1. The drama magnet. When chaos follows wherever they go. We all encounter conflict and stress in our lives. That's simply part of being human. But have you ever noticed how some people seem to be at the center of dramatic situations with unusual frequency? While the rest of us might experience occasional interpersonal friction, these individuals appear to generate conflicts wherever they go. This isn't about someone having a particularly stressful week or dealing with a difficult life transition. We're talking about a consistent pattern where peaceful situations somehow transform into tense confrontations when this person is present. Picture this scenario. You're at a family gathering where everyone is getting along well, sharing stories, and enjoying each other's company. Then one particular family member makes what seems like an innocent comment, but somehow it triggers a cascade of hurt feelings, defensive responses, and before you know it, people are arguing about issues that weren't even part of the original conversation. What makes this pattern particularly concerning is how these individuals often position themselves as innocent bystanders in the chaos they've helped create. They might express surprise or confusion about why everyone is so upset, even though their words or actions were the catalyst for the conflict. The psychological term for this behavior is triangulation, involving a third party in a 2-person conflict to avoid direct resolution. Some people have learned that creating drama gives them attention, control, or helps them avoid dealing with their own issues directly. From a research perspective, people who consistently create interpersonal chaos often struggle with emotional regulation, have difficulty taking responsibility for their actions, or may have personality traits that make stable relationships challenging for them to maintain. Why does this affect you so deeply? When you're constantly dealing with interpersonal conflicts, your nervous system remains in a state of heightened alert. This chronic stress can exhaust your mental resources, leaving you with less energy for pursuing your goals, maintaining other relationships, or taking care of your own needs. Ask yourself, is there someone in your life around whom peaceful situations regularly become tense? Do you find yourself mentally preparing for drama whenever you know you'll be spending time with them? Do conversations with this person frequently escalate into arguments about topics that weren't even the original subject? If you recognize this pattern, it doesn't necessarily mean this person is intentionally trying to harm you. They might be dealing with their own unresolved emotional issues. However, recognizing the pattern allows you to protect yourself by setting appropriate boundaries and managing your own expectations when interacting with them. Warning sign 2. The relationship controller. Gradual isolation from your support network. Healthy relationships encourage your connections with others. They celebrate your friendships, respect your family bonds, and support your involvement in communities that matter to you. But sometimes, people enter our lives who gradually work to weaken these important connections. This isolation rarely happens suddenly. Instead, it's a slow process that can be difficult to recognize while it's happening. It might start with subtle criticisms. Did you notice how your sister interrupted you during dinner? Or, your friends don't seem very supportive of your new goals. These observations might initially seem like someone is being protective of you or helping you see things more clearly. But over time, you might notice a pattern. This person consistently finds fault with the people who care about you, while positioning themselves as your most reliable source of understanding and support. Psychologists recognize this as a form of emotional manipulation often called isolation and dependency. It's commonly seen in abusive relationships, but can also appear in friendships, family relationships, or professional settings. The process typically follows predictable stages. Stage 1, subtle criticism. They begin pointing out flaws in your other relationships, often framed as concern for your well-being. Stage 2, creating conflict. They might create situations that force you to choose between them and others, or they express hurt feelings when you spend time with anyone else. Stage 3, positioning as irreplaceable. They convince you that they're the only one who truly understands you, cares about you, or has your best interests at heart. The psychological impact of this isolation can be profound. Humans are naturally social beings who benefit from diverse perspectives and multiple sources of support. When someone works to narrow your social circle to primarily include them, they're not just affecting your social life, they're potentially compromising your ability to think clearly and make independent decisions. Warning signs include someone who consistently criticizes your family members or close friends, a person who gets upset or withdrawn when you make plans that don't include them, someone who claims that others are using you or don't appreciate you the way they do, a person who creates conflicts or emergencies that interfere with your other relationships. It's important to distinguish this from someone who might occasionally express genuine concerns about a relationship that seems harmful to you. Healthy people who care about you will respect your autonomy to make your own relationship decisions, support your connections with others even if they don't particularly like those people, encourage you to maintain a diverse support network, express concerns respectfully, and then allow you to make your own choices. If you're recognizing this pattern, consider gradually rebuilding connections that may have weakened. Reach out to old friends, make time for family relationships, and engage with communities that align with your values and interests. Warning Sign 3. The energy drain. Relationships that leave you depleted. All relationships require some give and take. We support our friends through difficult times, and they support us through ours. We invest emotional energy in our family members, and they invest in us. But some relationships consistently take far more than they give, leaving you feeling emotionally, physically, or even financially depleted. This goes beyond someone going through a temporary crisis who needs extra support. We're talking about people who seem to have an endless supply of problems that somehow always become your responsibility to solve, or who consistently take from you without offering much in return. These one-sided relationships can manifest in several ways. Financial draining. Someone who frequently asks for money, borrows things and doesn't return them, or expects you to pay for their expenses. They might have elaborate explanations for why they can't contribute their fair share, but somehow their financial emergencies often coincide with your payday or good fortune. Emotional labor. imbalance. They expect you to be available for their emotional needs at all times. But when you're going through difficulties, they're unavailable, dismissive, or somehow make the conversation about their own problems instead. Time and energy. Vampirism, they demand excessive amounts of your attention, often at inconvenient times, and the time you spend with them leaves you feeling drained rather than energized or fulfilled. Crisis manufacturing. They seem to lurch from one emergency to another, and these crises often require your immediate intervention. Their poor planning becomes your urgent problem. The psychological research on this type of relationship dynamic shows that consistently one-sided relationships can lead to what's called compassion fatigue, a form of emotional exhaustion that occurs when your capacity for empathy is constantly overtaxed without adequate recovery time. What makes these relationships particularly tricky is that they often exploit your positive qualities. If you're naturally generous, caring, or responsible, these individuals can spot those traits and unconsciously, or sometimes consciously, take advantage of them. The key difference between supporting someone through genuine hardship and being drained by someone with unhealthy patterns is reciprocity and growth. In healthy relationships, support flows both ways over time. The person actively works to improve their situation. Painful relationship patterns involve someone who identifies your deepest insecurities and systematically uses them against you. This goes far beyond occasional thoughtless comments or constructive feedback. It's about someone who seems to have an almost uncanny ability to zero in on your most vulnerable spots and target them strategically. We all have areas where we feel less confident. Perhaps our appearance, our past mistakes, our fears about the future, or our perceived weaknesses. In healthy relationships, people either avoid these sensitive areas or address them with genuine care and the intention of helping us grow. But some individuals seem to collect information about your insecurities, like an arsenal of weapons they can deploy whenever they want to hurt you, control you, or put you in your place. This pattern often begins with someone creating a false sense of safety around your vulnerabilities. They might encourage you to open up, assure you that they're a safe person to confide in, and create an environment where you feel comfortable sharing your deepest fears and self-doubts. You can tell me anything, they might say. And initially, their response to your vulnerabilities might seem supportive and understanding. This creates a bond and makes you feel like they truly know and accept you. However, over time, you might notice that the very insecurities you shared in confidence start being used against you. During arguments, they might bring up your past failures. When you're feeling confident, they might make subtle comments designed to deflate that confidence. When you're trying to move forward, they might remind you of the very fears and self-doubts you're trying to overcome. The psychological term for this behavior is emotional warfare. It represents a profound betrayal of trust because it weaponizes the very vulnerabilities you shared in a moment of openness and connection. This pattern might look like bringing up your past mistakes during arguments about unrelated topics, making comments about your appearance, abilities, or worth that target your specific insecurities, reminding you of your failures when you're attempting new challenges, using phrases like, "I'm just being honest," or "I'm telling you this for your own good," to disguise cruelty as helpfulness, sharing your private insecurities with others, either directly or through subtle implications. The impact of having your vulnerabilities exploited can be devastating. It can erode your self-confidence and self-worth, make you more hesitant to be open and authentic in other relationships, keep you trapped in old patterns of self-doubt, make you more susceptible to manipulation and control, prevent you from taking healthy risks or pursuing growth. What makes this particularly confusing is that these individuals often present their attacks as helpful feedback. They might say things like, "I thought you could handle the truth. I'm the only one honest enough to tell you this. Everyone else is just being nice to you." But here's the crucial difference. Genuine feedback aimed at helping you grow comes from a place of love and is delivered with respect for your dignity. It's offered at appropriate times and in constructive ways. It focuses on specific behaviors that can be changed, not on fundamental aspects of who you are. Insecurity exploitation, on the other hand, is designed to keep you small, doubtful, and dependent. It targets aspects of yourself that may be difficult or impossible to change, and it's delivered in ways designed to cause maximum emotional damage. If you recognize this pattern in your life, consider limiting what personal information you share with this person, developing a strong support network of people who build you up rather than tear you down, working with a counselor or therapist to process any damage this treatment has caused, practicing self-compassion and reminding yourself that their treatment of you reflects their issues, not your worth. Remember, someone who truly cares about you might occasionally offer difficult but loving feedback, but they don't systematically target your deepest insecurities. They don't weaponize your vulnerabilities, and they don't disguise cruelty as honesty. Moving forward, protecting yourself. While maintaining your heart, recognizing these 5 warning signs: drama creation, isolation tactics, energy draining, faith undermining, and insecurity exploitation, is the first step toward protecting your well-being and creating healthier relationship boundaries. But here's something crucial to remember. Identifying these patterns doesn't mean you should become cynical, suspicious, or closed off from genuine connection. The goal isn't to build walls around your heart, it's to develop better discernment about who deserves access to your most precious emotional resources. Most people in your life won't display these patterns. Many individuals are generally well-intentioned, even if they sometimes make mistakes or have difficult moments. The purpose of understanding these warning signs is to help you identify the relatively small number of people whose consistent patterns of behavior are genuinely harmful to your well-being. Trust your instincts. Often, your gut feeling will alert you to problematic dynamics before your mind can fully articulate what's wrong. If you consistently feel drained, confused, or diminished after spending time with someone, pay attention to that signal. Set boundaries. Gradually, you don't need dramatic confrontations to protect yourself. Simply begin limiting this person's access to your time, energy, emotional labor, and personal information. You might spend less time with them, share less personal information, or decline their requests for help when appropriate. Rebuild healthy connections. If someone has been working to isolate you, gradually rebuild the relationships they tried to damage. Reach out to old friends, reconnect with family members, and engage with communities that align with your values. Seek professional support when needed. If you're dealing with particularly damaging relationship patterns, consider working with a counselor or therapist. They can help you process any emotional damage, develop stronger boundaries, and build healthier relationship skills. Practice self-compassion. If you've been affected by toxic relationship patterns, be gentle with yourself. Many caring, intelligent people find themselves in these situations. Recognition and change take time, and healing is a process. Focus on your growth. Rather than spending excessive energy analyzing or trying to fix the problematic people in your life, invest that energy in your own healing, growth, and the cultivation of healthy relationships. Remember, you deserve relationships that enhance your life, support your growth, and respect your inherent worth. You deserve people who celebrate your successes, support you through challenges, and encourage you to become the best version of yourself. The knowledge you've gained today isn't meant to make you suspicious of everyone around you. Instead, it's meant to empower you to make conscious choices about who gets to influence your life, your emotions, and your future. Your peace of mind, your emotional well-being, and your spiritual growth are precious resources. Guard them wisely, share them generously with those who deserve them, and never feel guilty about protecting yourself from those who would exploit them. The journey toward healthier relationships begins with understanding these patterns and having the courage to prioritize your own well-being. You're worth the effort it takes to create a life surrounded by people who genuinely care about your flourishing. If this information has been helpful to you, consider sharing it with others who might benefit. Sometimes the people we care about are struggling with similar relationship patterns and could use this perspective to better understand their own experiences. Your story doesn't end with recognizing these patterns. It begins with the wisdom to choose better relationships and the strength to protect the beautiful, valuable person you are.